Colin, this season has been awesome, and it started with a bang because of the Donovan Mitchell trade. We agree that this was huge for the team and the organization, but what have you seen him do to propel the Cavs to the 4th seed? How has he changed the team's identity over these past 82 games?
Obviously, we have seen that this team is different. We've noted that the team, the organization, everything about the atmosphere of the team has changed, and we've noted it in almost every episode, if not every other episode. And we did, I think, 4 or 5 episodes in a row once we got Donovan Mitchell, because we had to kind of correct ourselves initially. We had suggested that maybe they shouldn't have traded for him. But I think that has worked out for us, that we got him. And I think for me, the biggest presence I see him on the floor is that he is just a guy that is someone that you can go to get a bucket. And I think the previous season, when the Cavs were in the play-in tournament, it's not that Darius Garland couldn't do that. It's not that Jared Allen couldn't do that, or even Markkanen. It's just that they weren't as consistent. You could probably look at Donovan Mitchell and say 8, maybe even 9 times out of 10, if they needed a basket, he would be able to get to the hoop and either draw a foul or, have the defense collapse on him, and then he can dish it off to get a corner 3 from LeVert or whoever. And I think that that's really what you see is he can get a bucket, and he is really a player that causes gravity to happen on the floor, which is really deadly. And it is helpful because this team is so reliant on its defense as its identity that the offense would get bogged down in previous seasons with basically DG being the main initiator. And now Garland can be off ball more, and you can have Donovan be the initiator or vice versa. They're bringing Mobley along. The offense just hums a little bit better when you have a guy who the defense is terrified of and he's always an ideal matchup. I've heard this on a few podcasts now. Donovan Mitchell he is going to be the best player on the floor in this Knicks series. And depending on how you break it down, if they end up playing the Bucks, it's Giannis and then Donovan Mitchell. So that's the last thing I'll say here is it gave not only gravity, but it gave the Cavs organization and this really young team an identity of, hey, you have to mess with this guy if you want to win. You have to outplay one of the top 10, 15 players, the best shooting guard in the Eastern Conference, to win a game. And that's kind of what I'm seeing from the overall season and what he has brought.
We're a completely different level of confidence as a team with Donovan Mitchell out there. I think that there's a few things that come to mind that stick out like a sore thumb compared to last season. One is that our home record was a lot better, and compared to last year. And also, we even won a few more games on the road. Even though we still had a losing record on the road, we improved. But we were the best fourth quarter team in the league by 180 points. 180 point differential. And, the team behind us is the 76ers, which is the best team in the league in the East. So that's Donovan Mitchell to me. Every game that I watched, whether it was him leading the charge or just his infectious attitude, right? His never going to give up, never going to quit, right? If there's still numbers on the clock, then he's out there fighting till the whistle blows. And I saw that effort from the Cavs through the entire season, even in the last couple games to finish out the year, which you and I thought would be a wash, and we actually won a game. Because I think that Donovan Mitchell made everybody, just like when you get a LeBron or you get a Jordan or any kind of major game-changing player, all of a sudden, I think not just the organization, but the players on the team go, oh, this is our shot.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big chance for us now. We've got a small window to make this possible. And that's where I think we didn't quite, if we had really stopped to think outside of, the being rabid fans of the Cavs and people that wanted to support Colin Sexton. Colin could never provide that to the Cavaliers. It just wasn't going to happen because he wasn't that kind of player coming in from college, and he had not become that kind of player while on the Cavs. He had given an awful lot to this organization, and really his work ethic and what he brought to the table, I think, was a big reason why we had any success at all. He was certainly trying to lead the team as best he could, but Donovan Mitchell is just another level of player. And so, at the end of the day, what can I say further than just the proof is in the pudding of we didn't have to play in to the playoffs this year. We didn't have to fight to prove that we deserve to be there. We didn't fall off the cliff after the All-Star break. And we stayed a team that, even though we struggled pretty much the whole season to start games strongly, we were a team that always came out in the second half, course-corrected and regained a lead and won those games. So I got to give that to Donovan, his leadership, and the big change of him coming here and leading this team in a different way.
I totally agree, and I also think that we tend to speak in hyperbole here because we are fans of the team, and we've joked and we've even had some legitimate questions about whether or not Donovan should be an MVP candidate or whatnot. And the other guys that are going to get the MVP and are actually in that race, they truly deserve it. But there are national media types like JJ Redick who had Donovan Mitchell 5th in MVP voting. I don't think you or I even considered that in that trade episode because we knew that what we were getting on some level, but I don't think either of us thought, oh, we're getting a guy who is going to get MVP votes. That's not, I don't think we were in that realm of thinking. And on top of that, we knew the East would be tougher. We didn't think it would be the absolute slaughterhouse that it is this year. It is absolutely brutal, the amount of talent that has just emerged out of the East, and every game it has just been a battle for the Cavs. And when you have a guy who's getting 5th, even top 10 voting for MVP, that means you have someone that is just a franchise difference maker. And it goes back to what you and I mentioned way at the beginning of this, and all the credit to Altman and JB on pulling the trigger for this and agreeing to shift the identity and having that difference maker.
Well, they recognized another generational talent in Mitchell, and they said, listen, we got to bring him here. And I think we all wondered how it would work because, of course, with the Sexton-Garland situation, it was two small guards. And would that work on a team in the NBA? And we have two small guards again this year, and yet it worked just fine. And that's because Donovan Mitchell brought in a level of veteran leadership and expertise in the game that just made everything transition so easily. And I think you and I could not know or expect that in any way, shape, or form. But I'll never forget going to the first couple weeks of games, because I didn't get a chance to after, really. And everybody, the whole crowd was chanting MVP after the first couple weeks. Because you could just see this guy was so special, and he was going to bring a totally different attitude to the team. And and now we're here. I'm excited because I've said when we got him, all right, well, if it works, it's not going to work in the first season. So whatever we get out of this year, let's just be happy with whatever we get.
Yeah.
Well, so far I'm extremely happy.
Thank you for listening to the Cavaliers Basketball Club podcast. Let's go Cavs!